The story begins in a small town in northern Europe, where a man named Coxman works clearing snow. He does this so that people can move easily along the roads. His house was on a snow-covered mountain, where he lived peacefully and happily with his wife and his son, Kyle. Coxman was so dedicated to his work that he was honored with the Best Citizen Award of the town. But this honest and simple man had no idea that a terrible was about to happen in his life. His son Kyle worked as a ground service employee at an airport. One night, when he was preparing to go home after finishing his work, suddenly an armed man appeared there. He forcefully dragged Kyle and put him into a van. His coworker Darren was also inside the van. The van quickly drove away from there. Kyle couldn't understand why he was being kidnapped. Then those men forcefully injected him with drugs. While they were injecting Kyle, Darren saw an opportunity and jumped out of the moving vehicle by opening the door. The van stopped immediately. A white-haired man stepped out and started firing continuously at Darren. But due to the darkness, not a single bullet hit him, and Darren managed to escape. On the other hand, due to a drug overdose, Kyle died right there. The next morning, Coxman learns that his son is dead. When Coxman and his wife go to the morgue and see their son's dead body, they are so devastated that they cannot utter a single word. At that moment, a police officer informs them that Kyle died due to a drug overdose. Hearing this, Coxman and his wife are completely shocked. Coxman immediately realizes that something is wrong because he knows his son would never take drugs. But this death also creates a crack in their relationship. Coxman's wife starts blaming him, saying that he never took proper care of their son. Coxman says nothing in return. At that moment, he neither wants to understand anything nor get into any argument. He silently endures everything. His heart becomes as cold as the snow-covered mountains. Instead of going home, he returns to the parking area of the snowplow vehicles. Being at home would force him to face memories he wants to avoid. There, he takes out his rifle and puts the barrel into his mouth, attempting to commit suicide. Just as he is about to pull the trigger, he suddenly hears a sound. A blood-covered, exhausted, and terrified man crawls out from behind a cabinet. Coxman immediately recognizes him. It is Darren, who worked with his son. Darren repeatedly apologizes to Coxman and says that Kyle died because of him. Actually, Darren had stolen a large bag full of drugs from a gangster. But the criminals didn't know who among them had stolen the drugs, so they kidnapped both Darren and Kyle. Darren somehow managed to escape, but unfortunately, Kyle was brutally killed by them. Hearing this, Coxman grabs Darren by the collar in anger and demands to know who his son's real killer is. Darren gives him the name and address of Speedo. Hearing this name, the fire of revenge inside Coxman burns even stronger. Without wasting a moment, he takes his car and leaves. After some time, he reaches a bar. With the help of a security guard, he finally locates Speedo. Seeing Speedo coming out, Coxman follows him and enters the lift with him. There, Coxman starts asking him question after question, but Speedo refuses to answer anything. He thinks he can easily intimidate this old man, so he pulls out his pistol. But he has no idea how dangerous a father who has lost his son can be. Coxman immediately attacks him and starts punching him repeatedly in the face, leaving his face in a terrible condition. He checks Speedo's phone and finds information about his boss, who runs a wedding dress shop. Then Coxman chokes Speedo and kills him. After that, he drags the body to his car and throws it into a mountain waterfall. When he returns home, he sees his wife sitting silently. Coxman tries to talk to her, but she completely ignores him. After Kyle's death, their relationship is almost over. Then Coxman goes back to the parking area, where he cuts off the front part of his rifle to make it a small hand weapon that he can carry with him at all times. After that, he goes to Speedo's boss. As soon as Coxman enters the shop, the owner realizes that this man's intentions are not good, because Coxman keeps trying to hide something inside his coat. The shop owner asks him to wait for a moment. While Coxman is waiting, the owner hands a dress to a woman. As soon as she leaves, Coxman wastes no time. He hits the owner in the face with his gun so hard that blood starts coming out. The owner realizes that his time has come. So, out of fear of death, the man reveals the names of those drug smugglers who were supplying the drugs. They were all connected to a large drug syndicate. After telling everything, the man starts crying and begs Coxman for his life. But Coxman shoots him dead, because he was also involved with those who killed his son. And now Coxman is in no position to show mercy to anyone. After that, just like before, he takes the body and throws it into the same waterfall where he had thrown Speedo. Then Coxman heads straight to the airport. There, he waits for a drug smuggler. As soon as he spots the man, Coxman starts following him with his snowplow vehicle. After some time, Coxman turns his vehicle and appears in front of the drug dealer's car from another road. He steps out of his vehicle, walks up to the smuggler's car, and calmly asks him to move his car back a little. But the dealer refuses, because he knows the road is wide enough for both cars to pass side by side. Still, when Coxman doesn't listen, the dealer realizes that Coxman is doing this intentionally. Actually, the dealer wanted to settle the matter peacefully, because his car was full of drugs that needed to be delivered quickly. But Coxman had a completely different intention. Suddenly, he starts beating the dealer. He beats him so badly that blood starts coming out of his nose. Coxman himself becomes exhausted and starts panting, but the fire of revenge does not let him stop. He keeps throwing punch after punch. He wants to know who the real mastermind behind all this is. But instead of giving information, the dealer starts laughing. He thinks Coxman won't kill him. But he has no idea that Coxman won't think twice before killing him. At that very moment, Coxman shoots him and finishes him on the spot. After that, while searching the car, Coxman finds a large amount of drugs. He tears them open and scatters them over the snow. Then he returns home, but his wife is not there. In fact, she has left him. Before leaving, she had left a letter for Coxman. But when Coxman opens the letter, he sees that it is completely blank. Their relationship has broken so badly that even at the moment of leaving, his wife had nothing left to say to him. Realizing this, Coxman breaks down completely from the inside. Still, he somehow gathers himself, because if he becomes weak now, he won't be able to take revenge for his son's murder. After that, to find out about the dealer's boss, Coxman drives to a luxurious house. His brother Brock lives there. Brock used to be a dangerous gangster, so Coxman has come to him to find out who is really behind his son's murder. To find out, Brock takes his phone and goes into another room. During that time, Coxman notices a woman sitting in the living room. She had noticeable nail cuts. She was probably in a relationship with Brock, but her behavior seemed quite strange. After some time, Brock returns and informs Coxman that a drug mafia named Viking is responsible for Kyle's murder. This Viking controls the biggest drug syndicate in the city. Even after hearing this, Coxman is determined to take revenge at any cost. But Brock stops him. He says that Viking has dangerous henchmen, and a normal man like Coxman won't even be able to get close to him. So Brock suggests that he should hire a hitman for the job. On the other hand, Viking is also angry. 3 of his men and 1 kilogram of drugs are missing. The biggest problem is that he still doesn't know who is behind all this. Viking analyzes everything deeply. He thinks that whoever killed his 3 men cannot be an ordinary person. So the idea of a Native American gang comes to his mind, who have always been his rivals in the drug business. Viking assumes that they are responsible for the killings. So he immediately sends 2 of his men to eliminate the enemies and recover the drugs. Viking's men wait in the airport parking area. As soon as a Native American man gets off a flight and gets into his car, they follow him and capture him, bringing him directly in front of Viking. Without any interrogation or conversation, Viking takes out his gun and shoots him. After that, his body is tied to a boat and left near a village. But Viking doesn't know that by doing this, he has angered the Native Americans in a dangerous way. Because the man he killed is not just any thug, he is the son of the gang leader. Meanwhile, Coxman doesn't realize that he has unknowingly sparked a war between 2 major gangs. Anyway, with his brother's help, Coxman finds a hired killer in the city. They meet in a mall, where Coxman makes a deal of $90,000 with the killer. He pays half the money in advance. But suddenly, the killer pulls out his pistol and points it at Coxman, demanding all the money. With no other option, Coxman hands over all the money. The killer promises to complete the job and leaves. After that, he goes directly to Viking's house and informs him that someone has given him $90,000 to kill Viking, and that no Native American gang has sent him. Hearing this, Viking is shocked. The killer further says that if Viking gives him another $90,000, he will reveal the name of the person who hired him. Hearing this, Viking bursts out laughing, because the killer is making money from both sides. This is the first time someone has shown such courage in front of him. But for a mafia like Viking, this amount of money is nothing. So he orders his men to hand over the money. As soon as the killer gets the money, he reveals Coxman's name. Hearing the name, Viking immediately recalls Brock and Coxman, those tough men who were once active in the underground world. Although he never had any direct enmity or relationship with them, he still couldn't understand why Brock would want to kill him. Anyway, just as the killer was about to leave with the money, Viking suddenly asks him to sit down. The killer's face turns pale. He realizes that his death is now certain. After finishing his words, Viking draws the curtains in the room and kills the killer right there. Meanwhile, Coxman is sitting at his home, restlessly waiting for news of Viking's death. He keeps searching the internet again and again for updates. But Viking is still alive, living his life normally. Coxman doesn't know that not only has his money been wasted, but he has also unknowingly put his brother's life in danger. On the other side, when Brock sees a car stop in front of his house, he immediately understands that Viking himself has arrived. He realizes that his time is up. For the last time, he looks at his girlfriend standing by the window. Then, without any fear, he walks up and sits in Viking's car. At that moment, to save his younger brother Coxman, Brock takes full responsibility for the killing of the three men. He says he killed them due to old rivalry. After that, Viking kills Brock. A few days later, Coxman and that woman are standing in front of Brock's grave. Suddenly, the woman spits on the grave, curses him, and walks away with her suitcase. It becomes clear that she was only with Brock for his money. Seeing this, Coxman feels deep pain for his brother. Now he understands that he has to finish this revenge alone. So, he secretly goes near Viking's house and starts observing from a distance. That's when he finds out that Viking has a son who studies in primary school. Immediately, Coxman decides that this boy will be the key to fulfilling his mission. On the other hand, Viking has also realized that by killing a member of the Native American gang, he has started a dangerous war. To stop this war, Viking brutally shoots and kills one of his old and loyal henchmen. Then he orders his men to send the body as a peace offering to the Native American gang. His men follow the order. But the bodyguard standing beside Viking is deeply hurt inside, because the man Viking just killed was his closest friend. After some time, one of Viking's men reaches the Native American territory with a large gift box. He opens the box and places the severed head of the dead henchman in front of the gang leader. He delivers Viking's message, that the real culprit has been punished, and now he wants peace between the two sides. Hearing this, the gang leader calls him closer, as if to whisper something. Then in a cold voice, he says that in exchange for his son's death, he wants Viking's son dead. The very next moment, he shoots Viking's man dead. Meanwhile, Coxman finally reaches Viking's son's school. After school ends, he finds the boy and pretends to be one of his father's men sent to pick him up. The boy sees that this well-dressed old man doesn't look dangerous, so he gets into Coxman's car without fear. Coxman brings him home. By now, the boy understands that this man is not his father's man. Still, he is not afraid. Instead, he is quite curious, because Coxman neither threatens him nor harms him. At night, when it's time to sleep, Coxman gives him his dead son's room. As he is about to leave, the boy insists that he wants to hear a story. Coxman doesn't have any story to tell, so he is forced to read from the instruction manual of the snowplow machine. Strangely, the boy listens to those technical details with full attention. Coxman keeps reading the manual to him for a long time. Meanwhile, Viking is desperately searching everywhere for his son. He goes to the school security guard. The guard tells him that Coxman has taken his son. Hearing this, Viking realizes that the real person is still alive. Instead of simply giving the information, the guard demands $10,000. But Viking ignores him and, without wasting a moment, heads straight to Coxman's house with his men. When he enters the house, he finds complete silence. His son's bag is lying there, but Coxman has already fled with the boy. At that moment, Viking's right-hand man finds an old photo inside a drawer, which has the address of a parking lot written on it. That means Coxman is definitely there. Without delay, Viking heads toward the parking lot. But he doesn't realize that his right-hand man has already betrayed him. Secretly, he has informed the Native Americans about Viking's location because he wants revenge for his friend's death at any cost. Meanwhile, on top of the mountain, Coxman is anxiously waiting for Viking. Through the scope of his sniper rifle, he sees the enemy convoy approaching and realizes that a deadly battle is about to begin. He quickly hides the boy inside a steel cabinet on the second floor. Then he hides himself in a tunnel beneath his vehicle, waiting for the enemy. Within moments, Viking's convoy arrives at the parking gate. Hiding beneath the car, Coxman aims his gun at the enemy, who killed his son. But just before he can pull the trigger, a gun is pressed against his forehead. That's when we realize that Viking's men had already learned about his presence. They capture Coxman and bring him directly in front of Viking. While Viking is interrogating him about his son, he doesn't realize that behind him, on the snow-covered road, another convoy of death is slowly approaching. Within moments, a brutal shootout begins between the two major gangs. Seeing the situation turn worse, Coxman quickly hides behind a car to save his life. The battle that erupts in front of the parking lot becomes extremely bloody. The leader of the Native American gang sits inside his vehicle, observing everything. When he sees that almost all the henchmen from both sides are dead, he opens the door and steps out. He spots Viking and starts firing at him repeatedly because he wants to kill that monster with his own hands. At that moment, Viking jumps into his car and tries to escape. Meanwhile, taking advantage of the chaos, Coxman runs toward the warehouse. He takes out his vehicle and blocks Viking's path. Then he climbs onto a logging tractor and drops a massive tree onto Viking's car. But fortunately, Viking is still alive. Just then, a bullet pierces through his chest, the shot fired by the Native American gang leader. Seeing Viking dead, Coxman starts leaving the place with his snowplow vehicle. But suddenly, the Native American gang leader gets into his vehicle. He lowers his gun, and the two silently move forward along the snow-covered path. After taking revenge for his son's death, Coxman's long and cold war finally comes to an end. With the enemy defeated, he sets off toward an unknown destination alongside the Native American leader. Maybe he has pushed many people toward death, but the emptiness of losing his son remains in his heart forever. And this is how the story ends. If you love this story, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.